take everything into account when I'm thinking about a movie, like the experience that I have with the movie, the camaraderie, like what it means to me as a memory. And now I have more memories with TASM 2. I have the event. I have watching it with you and everybody else. So I gave it an extra like 0.5 just because like now, like, because I cried thinking about Spider-Man yet again in the theater. So, yeah, what do you want to do? Pros or cons first?
We can start with pros.
No, I want to start with cons for Q.
Okay, we'll start with cons.
What
are your cons?
Okay, so
obviously not many, considering you gave it a 9.
Yeah. So I mean, okay. So I have always said this movie's not perfect. There's problems in this movie.
Yes.
I just think that they're not as big of a deal as other people make them out to be. Like
Yes.
giving it a 2 out of 10 is acting like it's Madam Web. Like the script is not Madam Web. Like it's not even close to being that bad. The relationships that these people have, the acting, like it's just like that is not a 2 out of 10 script. It's not. I think there's too much in the movie. It suffers from the Spider-Man 3 syndrome of having too much thrown in, and some things not developed as much. So a lot of people complain about the parent stuff. I don't think the parent stuff is as big of a deal as people make it out to be. Obviously, they were trying to set this trilogy or series apart from past Spider-Man things we've gotten because we got Tobey's. We can't. Like they wanted something in it to make it different than just having villains and Spider-Man and a love story. And the way they did that was Gwen's love story. It was different from Mary Jane's, but also the parent thing. The way the MCU did it was the Iron Man relationship, and I think the Iron Man relationship is much worse and much less interesting to me than the parent stuff. I think the parent stuff.
That's crazy.
It's not crazy.
That's crazy.
It's not crazy.
Yo, Robert Downey Jr. giving a generational performance. Like
Andrew Garfield's performance in this is probably the best performance we've gotten from any Spider-Man actor ever. Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone's performance is amazing. Sally Field's performance is amazing.
No. But you're comparing Robert Downey Jr. in Homecoming and Infinity War and Civil War to the parents?
No.
Like, that's ridiculous.
When did I bring up Infinity War and Civil War?
But their relationship is that relationship.
You don't have to make an entire
movies.
movie out of it. You don't have to make Homecoming literally all that is. The parent stuff does not make Spider-Man worse. Iron Man's relationship.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
No.
No, it doesn't.
The idea, and I've said this on the podcast
why
before,
is it
so I'm going
bad?
to keep
Why
it
is the
short.
parent stuff bad?
It has no place in this movie. It has no place in this movie. Think about like what the parent stuff serves in this movie. Think about the opening scene of this movie is a plain scene that you do not need just to put another action scene in this movie. The two actors that are the parents aren't giving a good performance. They're not great. Okay. Then you introduce the idea that Andrew Garfield is the only person that can be Spider-Man in this entire universe. That idea is anti-Spider-Man.
No, it's not.
But I've said that on the pod before. You're just wrong for that. But
why?
Because the whole thing about Spider-Man is that it can be everybody.
Says who?
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee.
The creators of Spider-Man.
Stan Lee. What did he say?
Isn't that the whole scene in Into where it's like anybody can wear the mask? But that is
so it's just since Into, which came out after, right?
It's a comic sentiment which you wouldn't know because you haven't read any of those.
I have read some. First of all, also that doesn't make you.
No, again, it's like
the arbiter of what.
Okay.
Stan Lee said
you're Mr. Spider-Man
because he has a mask on. You can't see his face, so it could be anyone underneath the mask. That doesn't mean that no comic book ever in any universe ever can't have a storyline where it's Peter Parker's DNA. That doesn't make any sense. That's not what Stan Lee was saying. That's not what he meant. He meant that like kids looking at Spider-Man and seeing a guy with a mask, unlike Superman or Batman, where you can see his skin, it could be anyone under there. That doesn't mean TASM 2 is a bad movie because it has a parent plot line about DNA. That's not what Stan Lee was saying.
No, but that inclusion is just bad. You're somebody that you
just ignored everything I said. That's fine for you to think that, but that you can't use that reasoning. Like you can't say someone's anti-Spider-Man for liking TASM 2.
You're not anti-Spider-Man for liking TASM 2.
Like
that idea is anti-Spider-Man.
Okay, you just ignored everything I said. Sure, go ahead.
I don't care, to be honest. I think you're wrong, and I think everybody will think you're wrong on that. I don't like. You're out here defending the parent. I can't believe you just said that the parents' plot is better than RDJ. Like the relationship.
Having Spider-Man wander around, begging for Iron Man's attention, is not
Yeah, no.
It makes a worse movie to me.
Do you think they were planning? I do agree that the parents' storyline was an overarching plot generally because of the first movie. But do you think they were planning on doing the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is the only Spider-Man ever possible storyline, considering the first one and how by chance that happens? Like, he gets his powers strictly not conveniently, like accidentally. But this movie implies that it's not accidentally. So do you think that those two things happen separate of each other?
I don't understand the question.
He has a crush on Gwen, goes to Oscorp, steals Roberto's ID,
Right.
goes to the wrong lab, looks at the guys putting in the code, this magic code or whatever. You remember the stupid code? It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Then he goes into there, and then as he's looking around, he gets bit, and that's how he becomes Spider-Man. But this movie implies that that's not by chance.
I don't think it does that.
Okay. I just, the chances of that are so hilariously astronomical. Like,
That's the whole point of Spider-Man. It's also astronomical that in the comics they're doing a radiation beam and a spider drops down into it and gets radiated and then falls on Peter and then also bites him. Like, that's all chance.
Yeah. No, yeah. But like in the Tobey Maguire movies, it's just chance. Like I don't know. This one, there's like a lot of steps when the explanation you just gave for the comics has 3 steps. Peter being in a room for science, there being a spider in said room, and spider biting Peter.
Yeah, that's almost exactly what happens to Andrew. The only step you're adding is he snuck in.
No. And then Tobey Maguire, it's even less steps, right? It's just class trip, spiders being worked on. Bang.
Yeah, but you can break those down into...
But like I like what are the like integral steps? Like okay, Peter has to have a crush on Gwen because that's why he's at Oscorp. Because
But you could say that about the Toby ones. The only reason he was standing underneath the spiders because he had a crush on MJ and he was taking pictures of her.
But he's in that building because of the school trip.
Yeah, but he's only standing there because he has a crush on MJ. Like, you're really nitpicking here.
But he had no other reason to
No,
be
that's
at
not
Oscorp.
no, that's not true. He went there. The reason he snuck into the other things is because he was looking at his dad's research. Like they.
But again, I don't know.
I mean, yes, they made it more his origin a little bit more complicated because they involved his dad. But that's what makes the TASM movie stand out a little bit more.
No. I'm with you. And I don't have a problem with the origin itself being that complicated. But when you add the fact that all the stuff he needed to do, which is all chance, also technically isn't chance.
I don't understand why you keep saying that.
Because if the spider would have bit Flash Thompson in TASM, if like all those steps were taken by Flash Thompson, if it would have bit Flash Thompson, he wouldn't be Spider-Man. Because it said in this movie that it would only be Spider-Man if it was Richard or Peter Parker.
Yeah, it has to be his bloodline.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean it's still not chance. Like, his dad didn't expect him to create a superhero out of his son. He just made it so that the research that he was doing couldn't be unlocked or figured out without his DNA sequence.
No, I know. I'm not saying that all makes sense to me, but it just like complicates things. It's just like the fact that can't be anyone and it still produced Spider-Man adds layers to where it feels relatively organic in TASM 1, and now we're supposed to believe that it's not organic in TASM 2. Shall we move on to a con that we both have?
Sure.
Let's move on to Dane DeHaan and the Goblin premise. I mean...
Yeah.
Oof.
So, I wanted to ask you this.
Yes.
Imagine they did Electro in TASM 2.
Yes.
And then introduce Harry.
Okay.
And then they take some of the parent stuff and they take the Green Goblin stuff and that's Spider-Man 3 and then Gwen doesn't die until Spider-Man 3. Would you have liked that? Because I feel like the only reason they put Green Goblin in here and try to tie it all together is because they want to kill Gwen.
I just think the killing of Gwen is the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like if you take that out of the movie, this movie loses a lot of what makes it good.
But then you would also be able to fix a lot of stuff that you have problem with, I think.
I think so as well, but this discussion leads us to a con that I have that you don't have. So let's just jump right into it. I don't like Electro at all in this movie.
Yeah, I think that's not fair.
I really don't like it, actually. So I know that you like it, and I'm not saying you're not supposed to like it, but let me just bring up some things I do not like. I think his turn is completely unearned. I don't think it makes sense. And seeing it on the big screen, I've always felt that way, but I felt like that's less of a problem because who cares? But I forgot how long the Times Square scene is, which is one of the best scenes in the movie with this scene and everything. Like, there's some amazing stuff in that. But I don't think the turn makes sense in the context of the movie. It does not sell me that he is this much of a fanatic and like this, he just hates Spider-Man. And then for the rest of the movie, anytime somebody says, let's hurt Spider-Man, then he's horny. That doesn't make sense to me.
But it makes sense to you for him to be completely obsessed because he sees Spider-Man for 5 seconds? He's clearly mentally ill.
Of course. So
why does the flip from that to that not make sense?
Because I just think it's unearned. Like, I think you needed something else, or you needed something different, or maybe you don't have the fanatic thing or something. Like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, this does it. Like, as soon as he's like,
but if it's
looking and everybody's looking at Spider-Man, he's like, you took the attention away from me.
But it's not just that. It also thinks Spider-Man betrayed him by having someone shoot at him.
Yes, but I think it's easily explainable, and I think Andrew...
Not to a guy who's mentally unstable. If this was like a Lex Luthor character that was actually smart and emotionally like cognizant or whatever the frick, like, it would make sense. But the fact, like, the whole movie, he's clearly like has no social skills, has no idea what he's doing, makes a cake for himself. He's talking to himself in his own apartment, acting like he's Spider-Man. I have no problem with someone like that getting shot at and someone else taking the attention away from him and him being like, oh, I want to kill this guy now.
Yeah,
he's emotionally like a child.
I'm with you, and you know what? Like, everything you're saying makes sense. It just, in the movie, felt really unearned to me.
I guess it just doesn't bother me. And the other thing is, like, another reason why this isn't like that big of a con to me is like the same thing we've said about Guardians and the Marvels. Like, this isn't the villain story. Like, we like the Marvels because it was about the relationship between the 3 girls in the Marvels. This was about Gwen and Peter's relationship, and that's what they really focused on. And what they did that unbelievably amazing.
That's a very good point, except for the fact that they give a lot more effort and screen time to Electro than they do for Dar-Ben and Ronan. When you think of a scene that you see alone with Dar-Ben and no other heroes are in that scene, the only scene is her preaching her plan to the people of her planet. That's the only scene you get with Dar-Ben alone without any heroes other than the first scene of the movie, which is her finding the thing, and that is a very short scene. And that connects the heroes. So even then you could make the argument that you needed that for the heroes. So those are the only 2 scenes. Let me just bring up Electro scenes that don't have any other heroes in them. Okay? Sure. So I'm not bringing up the first scene where he saves them, right? Okay. You get the scene with Max in his apartment where he has his own cake. By the way, that scene alone is as long as the Dar-Ben speech. That's a long scene.
Sure, yeah.
Then you get him at his job with his origin story. You get BJ Novak, Alistar Smythe being a dick to him when he first gets there, okay? And he brings up the grid to him. He says, I designed the grid and you guys stole my idea. And then he's like, and I'm Spider-Man. And then he has the moment in his head, shows how mentally unstable he is, of course, where he freaks out on BJ Novak, but then that doesn't actually happen. Kind of unclear. They never do that again in the movie, which is weird. Anyway, that happens. That's another scene with Max alone. Then you have the scene where Max is leaving and BJ Novak wishes him a happy birthday by telling him to go fix the thing. Then he goes and fixes the thing, and then that's his origin. Okay. And then you've got the scene of him alone in the morticiary or whatever, in the mortician's office, where his daddy breaks out of the thing. You see he's blue, whatever. You see him see Times Square. And then you have him sucking up the power from Times Square before Spider-Man gets there. And then you have him in Ravencroft with Dr. Kafka. And that's just a scene where he's like, I'm Electro, okay? And then you have the scene where Dane DeHaan breaks him out. And then you have the scene of him infiltrating Oscorp with Dane DeHaan, where he kills the guy. All of these scenes are without the main superhero or any good guy characters, when you don't have that with Ronan or Dar-Ben at all. I didn't even mention the scene with Gwen in the elevator. Like, they give so much more screen time. Like, I understand your idea that it's not Electro's movie, but Electro probably has 20 to 30 minutes of screen time in this movie compared to a Dar-Ben who maybe has less than 15 and a Ronin who definitely has less than 15.
I'm sure I can find an example. Okay, so a few things. You really broke down those scenes and make them sound sometimes longer than they are. Like him saying "Go fix the power." That's basically the same scene as his origin story. Like it's all one thing. Mm-hmm. Two, I'm sure I could find an example of a character having a lot of screen time and them still not being the main focus of the movie. But three, like your first point is that his motivation felt unearned, and your second point is that he had too much screen time. They're using the screen time to make the motivation.
But doesn't that make it worse for me? I get that it works for you. But it doesn't work for me. And I imagine, considering this movie only made $500,000, I imagine it doesn't work for other people.
No, yeah,
and
obviously.
it doesn't work for Kevin Feige, who sent the letter. Who, Andrew Garfield, they were considering that was going to be the MCU Spider-Man, and he sent the letter, and he was like, "These are all of the things that don't work." And one of the main ones is Electro. Electro doesn't work for him. Obviously, the parent stuff doesn't work for him. Obviously, Dane DeHaan doesn't work for him. But Electro didn't work for Kevin Feige either. Like even with all the screen time you get before the Times Square scene, it still didn't work for me, audience member number 65 in the theater.
Who is your favorite Clipper?
Oh, easy. You're not gonna say this guy?
I'm not.
Wow, that's messed up.
I know.
That's messed up. That's an easy musty kid.
Listen, I don't think we should have a favorite Clipper. It's like you're all of our children. I have favorites.
Of course.
You're up there, of course. What nerd? Gotta show love
What
to
nerd-
what
what
nerd?
nerd?
That's, yup.